Hi there, I'm Lance and I'm a gamer.
And I'm Sam and I'm a non-gamer.
And we are Love to Hate, where we help gamers find great games to play with non-gamers.
And today we're taking a look at the Network, Primetime, and Megacorp Expansion by Allplay.
The Networks, Primetime. So this is a new game from Allplay. Now, you may or may not know, but The Networks was a game from a few years back. And so this is a new edition of The Networks. It is Primetime. And this is being put out by Allplay. And we do want to thank them for sending us this copy and the Megacorp Expansion to check out for a review for this video. Now, what you're going to be doing in this game, you are going to be the head of a network running your own channel. And so you're going to be deciding upon the different shows that will be in your lineup, as well as the stars of those shows and the advertisements that you're going to run during those shows to make money and gain viewers. Because in this game, it's all about having the most views, which are essentially points. Now, let's go down to the table. We'll check out how this one works, as well as what the Megacorp expansion adds to it. And then we'll come back and share our thoughts on the Networks Primetime. All right, I have the Networks Primetime on the table. Let me show you all this game about running your own TV network. Now, for components, what you're going to have a central board out here that is going to keep track of all of the shows that you are producing in their different genres. You've got sports, I think this is reality TV, sci-fi, comedy, action, and like heartbreak, relationship, drama kind of stuff. And then over here on this side of the board, this board breaks into two different pieces. This side of the board is going to be double-sided, and you can change it based off the number of players in the game. As you can see, this is the 3-player side. There is another board for higher player counts. Anyhow, you'll select the one that you are playing at, and it'll tell you how many of these cards you are going to put out on display for every round. There are going to be 4 rounds in this game. And so the different cards that you see out here that correspond to the display, you've got your show cards, your ad cards, your star cards, and your network cards. We'll come back to what all of those do for you here in just a second. You do have some cards that you will deal out at the beginning of the game. There is a way to play this game solo, and there's a solo mode deck for that. You do also have lots of tokens, money tokens to be exact. You've got your 1 millions, 5 millions, and 10 millions. And then panning the camera down just a tad, you are going to be able to see what the player boards for each of the different channels are. The channel I've got set out here is ICS, which is the sports channel, if you will, although there's not anything special about sports. You don't get like bonus points for doing sports genre of shows. It's just this one is maybe like ESPN sort of thing. Anyhow, you have your own player board as well as your 3 special cards that you start the game with that are going to be your really terrible, awful shows that are running on your network during daytime, evening, and nighttime at the beginning of the game. Now, you'll want to quickly replace these because they are awful. The numbers over here on the sides tell you how many viewers are watching that show in the first season, second season, third, and final 4th season. So nobody's watching these crappy shows come the 3rd season. You'll want to replace these. But the names of the shows are very, very funny. Cooking for Your Gerbil, Old Folks Complaining, America's Favorite Actuarially Tables. And the other shows in the game, the ones that I showed you earlier, they're going to be filled with lots of puns that are hilarious. You do also have cubes that you'll be using. Now, these cubes are going to keep track of your seasons, so you'll be putting these cubes out here, denoting what season is that show in. But you'll also be using these cubes to put on the genre board that I showed you right up here, keeping track of how many in each genre you have made. Now let's talk about how this game works, and you're reminded of the actions that you can do as well as the round end. And essentially this game is very simple. Each player is going to be performing one action on their turn until everybody has passed. And once everybody has passed, that is going to end the round. Now, how this begins, starting with the first player, they will do an action. So let's cover what are the different actions. Well, you can sign a star, sign an ad, produce a show, take a network card, replace a star or an ad, or pass. Now, pretty much all of the ones that involve the cards, so let's pan the camera back up right there to where you can see those cards again. All the actions pretty much involve taking one of the cards that are out on display. And remember, there are going to be a number on display that is dependent upon the player count. So let's first talk about the shows, and there are two different decks of show cards. You'll have A shows and B shows, and the rules will tell you how to set this up, but essentially you're going to have so many A shows that are placed on top of the B shows deck. So let's take a look at what a show might be. We've got Quiver. Obviously, that is a play off of Green Arrow, and it is an action movie. Now, some of the things that you will find on these cards are how many viewers are going to be watching that show in the different seasons. And as you can see, in Season 1, it has 7 viewers, but in Season 2, it gets even better at 10, but then it really drops off in Season 3 at 5, and then by the time it's in its 4th and final season, it's not doing too hot. What are the different things on here? Well, this show tells you that it does best in its evening time slot. So if I take this show, I am going to be inclined to want to put it in my evening time slot. That would be the one that was in the middle of the 3 that you saw earlier. And if I do so, then I get to start at placing my little cube right here on Season 1, earning 7 views. If I don't do that, say I put it in the daytime slot or in the nighttime slot, well, then I'm going to drop down to Season 3. I'll skip over the first 2 seasons, which is not great, and I will only be able to start my show and basically in Season 3, getting only 5 views, so that's not good. But before I can even take this show, I have to be able to pay the requirements. So it costs $5 million to be able to produce this show. And in addition to that, I have a requirement of needing a star to be able to be in this show before I can produce it. I also have an optional ad slot that I could fill with putting an ad card attached to this. But since it's grayed out, it is not required. Had it been filled in with green, such as this Wildlife Wrestling Federation, then it would require me to have an ad attached to it. Now, in every round thereafter, if there is a number in a red circle right here, that is going to be an additional amount of money that you are going to have to pay every round if you want to keep producing this show. So not only would I have to pay $2 million at the beginning to produce this show and have an ad attached to it with a possible additional ad, but I will have to pay $3 million each round thereafter in order to keep Wildlife Wrestling Federation in my lineup. So that's how the show cards work. Let's cover those ads real quick. So ads are going to give you money whenever you take them. So whatever number is listed right here is bonus money right from the get-go, right from taking this card. And then it will produce an additional amount of money listed up here. Now this one's very straightforward. However, there's going to be some that have something else at the bottom, such as bloop blue jeans. Now it will give me $2 million when I take it, but down here, I need to attach this ad to a show that already has another ad if I want to keep making $2 million each round. Otherwise, I have to rotate this card, and by rotating it, I do not get any additional money. I miss out on that extra $2 million each round. So you want to fulfill the requirements of what is listed in the bottom, such as this one, attaching it to an evening time show, so that you can get the better payout on these ads. Now, some ads do also have actions attached to them, not really actions. I can't find any right now, actually. But basically, there's extra additional things that they might do for you. So yeah, that's what the ads do for you. Let's look at the stars. Now, the stars are going to also cost money because you do have to pay your star. This is the permanent side character. He only costs $1 million to hire him. And depending on what season your show is in, when you've placed this star next to that show, they will earn you additional views. So if it's Season 1, this permanent side character is going to earn your show an additional 1 view. And as you can see in Seasons 2 and 3, it's 2 extra views. Now, the stars also have some things about them. Obviously, that's Larry David. That will also have fulfillments attached to them. And if you don't fulfill it, then you are going to have to rotate it. And the other side is never good. You always want to keep them right side up. And then some of the ads will also have certain things attached to them as well. that are extra special abilities that you can try to fulfill. And sometimes the stars obviously are real people. They're spoofs off of real people, reality TV judge, popular streamer. So you can have some fun trying to figure out, well, who are each of these stars and what shows do they represent? Obviously, that's Game of Thrones. But anyhow, that's how the stars work. And then the last type of card that you're going to have in the base game are going to be these network cards. Now, the network cards are just going to be first come, first serve. You don't have to pay anything. You can just take them on your turn to have and be able to use. Now, there's going to be 4 different types of network cards. There's going to be those that have this eye on it. And basically, that's going to be in-game points, another way to score points at the end of the game. The one that has the infinity symbol is an ongoing ability that will be whatever the card tells you to be. And the ones with the exclamation point are immediate bonuses. You will gain that as soon as you take the card. And then when the ones with the 1x are used whenever you want, but you can only use it once. And so those are the 4 different types of network cards that you can try to take in the game. And that's pretty much the gist of what you're doing. You're taking a card on your turn, hopefully working up towards producing shows. When you do produce a show, you will put a cube out here for the different genre of the show. So if it is a sports show, for instance, you'll place your cube right here in the 1 slot. Once you've produced a second show of the same type, you will bump your cube up and you will earn whatever bonus is listed there. Generally, it's going to be drawing cards from a specific type of deck. Drawing 2, choosing 1 to keep is usually what it is. But also at the end of the game, wherever your cube ends up being, you will earn a number of points based off of how many you've gotten in that genre. Now, panning back down to where our board is at, there is one other thing to really cover, and that is, what if you've already got shows out here and you want to make a new show, such as that the Baccalaureate, or however you pronounce that. Obviously, that's The Bachelor, a spoof off of that. And so basically, you will be taking these shows and filling in the spots that you are wanting to open up. So this is a nighttime one, so I would want to do the nighttime slot down here. And I would just move my show in there, taking the old show, taking the cube off of that and putting it in the corresponding season that it would be in, and taking my old show and placing it in my rerun slot, which is going to be right here. And you will keep all of your cards in your reruns throughout the course of the game. And if you ever replaced this show with a new show, you would do the same thing, moving it over here into your reruns. Now, all of the other cards that you would get throughout the course of the game, such as stars, they are going to go in your green room right here until you're ready to use them, attaching them to another show. Everybody loathes Raymond and wants to see him suffer. I would watch that. But anyhow, that's basically how that works. Now, at the end of 4 rounds, and you will keep track of your rounds on your round board. I didn't show you this in the components. This is actually a dry erase board, and you will be keeping track of all your points listed here. You will keep track of all 4 rounds, and then at the end of the game, you will get points for the genres that I showed you up at the top. Some cards will give you points for being in the reruns, but you will also get points based off of the value of your last season for each card that is in your rerun. So the cards you start the game with, they're not going to earn you any extra points because they're zeros in the last season. But this show right here would actually earn me 3 more points at the end of the game because its value at the end is 3, as long as it's in my rerun stack. So that is how the reruns work. Network cards that give you in-game points are going to give you points. And then cash is going to give you 1 point for every 3 million. You'll add up your points. You'll see who has the most, and that is the person who wins the game. And all right, so let's move on to the Megacorp Expansion. So what you have for components here with this one, you are going to have 3 different modules. You're going to have the Moguls module, which is going to include a deck of cards and some tokens. You will have the Executives module, which is going to have lots of new player boards that you will be choosing to play as well as some extra tokens and cards depending upon which executive you are going to be playing as, because each of these plays dramatically different. And then you are going to have the Teletime module, which is going to have all the components that you see right here: extra cubes, extra tiles that you're going to add to your player board, and some tile overlays, as well as some new cards to play the game with. So let's cover each of these 3 different modules. First, we'll start with the moguls. So how the moguls are going to work, you're going to place these tiles out on the genre board. And let me pull out the rule book to show you an example of how that looks. So as you can see right here, those mogul tiles are on the center row of the genre board as part of setup. And basically the idea with this is you want to be the player who gets to one of those tiles first. So essentially you want to have 3 shows of the same genre so that you can claim one of those mogul tiles. And you can only get one in the course of the game. So if you were able to get to the 3rd row before someone else in 2 different columns, you're only going to gain the first mogul. You cannot gain a second mogul, but essentially you get to draw 3 cards from this deck and choose one to keep. And what these cards are going to do, a lot of times they are going to give you some immediate benefit, such as what you can see here with page to screen. Look through the show deck and place any one show in your green room, reshuffle the deck, and then there is maybe a second benefit, which in this case, this one is a use once. Produce the show in your green room for free without taking an action. And so that's what the page to screen would do for you. Anyhow, there are going to be lots of these to be able to play with and gain and use throughout the course of the game. But essentially these work sort of like network cards that have multiple benefits listed on them. And so that's going to be the moguls. You want to race to try to get those. Pretty simple module to include. Next, we're going to move on to the executives. So as I've already said to you, the executives come with all of these extra tokens and whatnot, and each of them is going to pertain to the specific executive that you're playing with, such as maybe this star token and these 2 million bonus tokens, these anomaly cards. Anyhow, there's going to be a certain setup and way to play the game that is going to be completely different. This is asymmetrical because some of these are going to be wildly different, and there's going to be a complexity rating on each of these. And so some are going to be more difficult than others. There's one in here, let me see if I can't find it real quick, who is actually playing a rondelle. And so it just dramatically changes the course of the game and how you play it. Can't seem to find it right now, but here we go. Here's the rondelle player. And so each one has a different set of rules. And again, this is something that's going to be covered in the rule book, as there are going to be pages for each of the different executives that you could play as. And the rule book does a nice job of explaining all the details. There's not nearly going to be enough time in this video to be able to cover all of the different executives that you can play as, but as you can see, there's a ton of them in here. So this adds a ton of replayability to the game because each of these are wildly different and a new way to enjoy the game. So let's move on to the 3rd and final module, which is going to be that Teletime, which essentially what you're going to have with this module, you are going to be dealt new pilot season cards, and these pilot season cards are actually going to come with their own genre. And why that is important is because whenever you get your pilot season cards, such as Somewhat Marginal, it is a comedy, and so what we're going to do is we're going to draw this tile that has the comedy genre right in the center of this 3x3 grid right here. This is going to replace the genre board of the main game, the base game. And what you're going to be doing is you're going to be trying to complete rows and columns of the different genres so that you can earn these bonuses that are listed out here. And you can also complete the diagonals as well. And when you've completed a row or column, you're going to earn that bonus. And if you're playing with a modules bonus, the second time you fill up a row, column, or diagonal, you'll actually earn one of those moguls. And so this is going to be different depending upon what genre you start the game with as it changes up your 3x3 grid. And as you can see, there are some new genres that are going to be a part of this particular module. You've got kids, you've got quizzes, and you've got talk show chats. And each of these are going to add bonus points that you can score, but also limitations, such as with the kids' TV shows. You can put them anywhere except for prime time and late night because kids aren't watching TV during that time. So you're going to be placing them during the day or the weekend because Teletime actually adds another slot for you to be able to put another show in. So you're going to actually be able to produce 4 shows all at once, having the weekend time slot as that extra slot to be able to make shows The quizzes are going to give you chances to be able to spend some of your money to gain additional viewers, and the chats are going to actually earn you additional views for stars that are in your lineup on different shows that aren't even a part of the chat shows. So it basically allows your stars to give you double bonus, double effect. That's what the chats do. Now, this is going to change up your setup and how you play the game, but you also have new cards that are going to give you not only the weekend time slots, but they're also going to be some that give you dual slots that you could put them in on, such as this one right here. It could go on the weekend or it could go during the daytime. And there's also going to be some shows that can be any. Let's see if I can find one of those real quick. They say any on them, such as this one right here. And you can basically put that show anywhere because it'll work no matter where it's at in your lineup. So that is very versatile for getting those types of cards. But that's essentially what you have here with this module, the Moguls module, as well as the Executive module. And that's what you got with the Megacorp Expansion. So now that you know about the Megacorp Expansion and the base game, let's go back up top and share our thoughts on the networks. And we're back, and now we're going to share our thoughts on the network's Primetime. Now, later in this video, we'll talk a little bit about the Megacorp Expansion, but majority of this video is going to focus on the base game. So, Sam, we used to own the networks. I don't think you ever probably played it. This was pre-Love to Hate days before we started this channel.
Just hate.
Yeah. Just hate. And so, yeah, I don't think Sam ever got to play that one. But to be honest with you guys at home, it would have been a very, very long time since I have played that game. And so now we have the Primetime networks, or excuse me, the network's Primetime. And so what is a little bit different about Primetime as opposed to the original version of this game? You're only playing 4 rounds instead of 5. That is one of the biggest changes. And some of the ways in which the cards work after they exit your lineup, they all just go straight to your reruns. They don't go into kind of, or well, there was reruns before, but you don't have archives in this version of the game. Everything just goes straight to reruns, and it stays in reruns.
That sounds like it's a little more streamlined.
This is definitely more streamlined. I think this is maybe more modernized for what we are familiar with in today's board gaming, as opposed to what things might have been like pre-COVID, which I know that was only 5 years ago, But in the board gaming world, there's been a lot that has happened in board games in, just the last 5 years or so. And so this has definitely been revamped to be more streamlined, an easier entry level into getting into. Not that the original game was super complicated, but it was definitely a little more complicated than even this game here. So let's talk about this game here, because you're only familiar with this one. And I liked the original one, but I think I like this one a little bit more. So Sam, playing this one, getting into the game, understanding what this game was all about, share your thoughts on this one.
I think it took a second to kind of wrap your head around, like, this is the things you're trying to do with each round. Like, you're trying to add points to each television, or, I mean, it's all television.
Yeah.
You're trying to add points to each television episode, so you're trying to add actors or ads, but some of them you can't just add actors to anything. You can't just add ads to anything. Right. And some of them end up costing money to use. Right. And so there is kind of a brain. It
is resource management, having to manage your money efficiently for this one. Yeah. You can't just do everything that you see out on the table. You do have to make some pretty solid choices to do well in this one.
And definitely, I think probably by the 3rd round, I was like, oh man, I should have done this differently in the 2nd round. Because there's just a lot of thinking, but not in a, it's too hard. No. It's just in a, it's more thinky than I think it looks like it would be.
Right. Because everything I feel like is pretty easy to grasp. It's pretty intuitive, I feel like. You know, the idea of just these are the shows that we're lining up for this season,
Yeah.
and you know these are the viewers. Like it's all out there in front of
Yeah.
you. It's just a little bit of planning ahead, one or two
Well,
moves.
and I think the first time you play it too, you're like, oh, like 6 is good for like views.
Right.
But then you realize like there's some with 15.
Yeah. 6 is really
and
not
I think
that good.
that's where I kind of
Yeah.
I was like, oh well, number in my first thought in the first
Yeah.
season was 5, then it went up to 7, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna keep it. Not realizing that I probably should have switched it out for higher views.
Which is what I like about this game quite a bit, because I find that to do well in this game, you have to be willing to cut loose of a strategy that you were pretty tied to in the previous round. Like in a previous round, you might have been like, okay, this is my best show. It is staying in the lineup. It's a home run hit. And then you get into the next round and you realize, well, wait a second, that show's really not that great compared to what I could have.
Well, and those network cards, Lance got a lot more than I did. There's just something that I wasn't really paying attention to. I grabbed them occasionally and use them, but there's some really good ones, and you're really missing out by not picking those up.
Yeah, what I like a lot about this game is that there are many different paths to doing well or increasing your odds for doing well in this game. The network cards is one of them. Several different actors and ad cards have special little abilities that if you really pour into that can really help you with maximizing your efficiency with everything that you're doing. So you just have to pay attention to the different options, and maybe for a first-time player, that might be a little it's not super heavy, but it might be a lot to consider.
It's just a lot of moving pieces for them to hold on to.
Sure. Okay, let's get to pros and cons for the base game of the network's Primetime, and then we'll talk about the expansion, what it adds here in just 1 minute. But Sam, for you, the bullet point highlights that are good for this game, what would they be?
I think we both love the names of the television shows.
The puns are amazing in this game.
Yeah, like instead of How I Met Your Mother, it's How I Left Your Father.
Oh my gosh.
And that was pretty funny.
Throne of Games.
Yeah.
Instead of Game of Thrones.
I'm glad you explained that, because I don't think they would have gotten it. And then...
what are some of the other ones?
Star Joust, I think it says Star Wars.
The ads are funny too.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just you will get a lot of the references
there's
if you've watched
really
any
good
TV
humor
in the last 10 years or so, 10, 15
And then the
years.
actors, you're like, oh, that's clearly
Jerry Seinfeld. Or that's clearly Drew Carey. Like, they did a great job with the puns and the artwork in this game.
Yeah.
The production is fantastic.
Yeah.
Allplay did a fantastic job bringing this and adapting it to their lineup of games. Same box size as what you're familiar with Allplay. Just a really nice job of what they've done with this one. What else works well for you with this one?
I mean, I think that the iconography works well.
Yeah.
Like figuring out this is a morning show, an afternoon show, an evening show.
Yeah.
There's a lot of moving pieces, so you need to be able to control and figure out where everything goes. I think for the most part, I was able to do a lot of that without asking a whole lot of questions.
I would agree with that. And having just, like I said, a long lost familiarity of the base game. I had a general idea of what this game was, trying to, go back in the annals of my memory of playing the base game. But just briefly looking at the rule book, this game came right back to me. I understood the iconography like Sam's talking about. It's easy to get to the table, and it's easy to kind of explain. You want to put these kind of shows here, these kind of shows there.
Yeah.
Line up the actors with the genres. Get as many of the same genres as you can for maximum points. I mean, it's pretty straightforward stuff.
That was another thing too. Lance seemed to pay more attention to the different genres, and I was like, I just want the one that's going to get me the most money. And you really can get, I don't think either one of us did that to the most to the best of our ability, because you really could get more things if you go up and get more of the
same. I do have a con about that here in a second, but some of the pros that I really like about it. So there are lots of opportunities. This is one of those games where you want to try to stay in the round generally as long as you can, but you don't want to overplay it, because then somebody's going to exit the round and get more money than you. unless if you don't really even care about the money, which you probably will care about the money. So, but this is one of those games where you don't want to just spend all your money real quick and then have nothing else left to do. You do want to kind of slow play things, and I like games that are like that because there is that little game of when is she gonna go, when is he gonna go out. I hope they stick around because I really want to go out before them, but I want to do this before I go out. That's a fun little kind of meta game in the game. But there are lots of ways to be able to prolong what actions you can do in the round. Getting those ads helps you to get money, to be able to get more stars, to be able to produce more shows. I like the chaining that happens with the different actions in this game. That's a pretty fun, almost feels like comboing, even though it's maybe not comboing, but it feels like that in a sense. Okay, what maybe doesn't work so great for you with this game?
I think we both said we wish that there was more television shows pulled out with each round.
That was going to be kind of one of my cons,
just giving a little bit more options.
Yeah, because kind of piggybacking off of that, when you mentioned the genres and going up the scale on the genres, my main thought was, there's not enough shows to give the different flavors of the genres to be able to go up the scale on the genres. So, or at least that's what my experience was. And if there was maybe 1 or 2 more shows available in the market, that might provide a different variety.
Yeah.
Because there were a few rounds where it felt like, well, there's only 2 genres out here.
Yeah.
And neither of them are ones that I have already built up on the scale, so I'm not going to be able to go up any higher on the scale. So it's a minor quibble with that, and you could maybe even house rule it if you wanted to.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was kind of my only real con with this one, is that that feels limited based off of the way the rules are written.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we get to our scores for this one, let's bring back the Megacorp expansion just to give you some info on what this expansion adds. So it's going to give you a number of different modules that you can add to this one. There's going to be 3 in particular. The first is going to be the executives, and what that's going to provide you are 13 unique player powers that you're going to have at the beginning of the game. Think of it as different characters that come with their own special little abilities. And so everybody's got that they can play into to kind of make each gaming experience feel different. So that's a pretty cool thing that it's going to add. The next thing are going to be the deck of moguls. So this is going to be another deck of cards that are going to basically give you the ability to break certain rules in the game. But they're going to be another deck of cards that are out in the market to be able to get towards. Along with kind of like the network cards in a sense. But these are going to be super powerful. And so that's going to give another different layer of flavoring to the game. But then the last one, and this is one that I think is a very nice addition to the game, because this is going to provide additional gameplay experience of what you're already used to with this. And that's going to be Teletime, which is going to give you an extra slot to be able to put on another show, an extra hour to your lineup. So now you're producing 4 shows instead of 3, which I think is fantastic because, and maybe this might have been another con had I thought about this when we were doing our pros and cons, the game feels short in a sense. You're only doing 3 shows and you're only doing 4 rounds, and so at maximum, if you're swapping out all 3 shows every time, is 12 shows, and that just doesn't feel like enough shows sometimes. So with the Teletime, you're actually going to be doing 4 shows every season, so you're going to be cycling through quite a few more shows, which I think is fantastic. So the network's Megacorp expansion adds in those 3 modules. Check them out. Leave us some comments down below. Let us know what you think about those different expansions. But I think my favorite is probably that Teletime because it gives you more gameplay experience. So, all right, let's get to our scores here for the network's Primetime. Sam, scale of 1 to 10, love to hate. What are you going to give this one?
I did like it. I think we had a lot of fun playing it, and it would be fun to play with other people. I'm giving it 8.2.
Okay, yeah, I was wondering if this is going to be a higher one for you. It's going to be a higher one for me as well, and it may even make a top 10 list at the end of the year. I really like this one. In fact, it's weird because I remember liking the original one. And I remember liking it quite a bit, but obviously it's not in our collection anymore. And it might have just been because it never really got to the table for one reason or another. But
like we were reviewing too many other board games.
Well, but it was before we were reviewing board
true.
games.
That's
So,
true.
but it just never really got to the table for some reason. And I feel like this one is going to get to the table a lot. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just different era of gaming for me, I think maybe is probably what it is. But I really like this one, and the puns are just hilarious. The comboing, like I kind of explained earlier, even though it's not really comboing, is something that really scratches an itch in gaming for me. Of like, I want to do this so that I can do that and stay in the round longer. That's just a fun little aspect of this game. But I really like it. So all in all, I'm going to give it an 8.5. I'm pretty high on this one, quite a bit. So. That's where we're at here with the network's Primetime as well as the Megacorp Expansion. 8.2, 8.5. This one comes to us from Allplay. Leave us some comments down below. Let us know what you think about this game.
Make sure to like and subscribe and push that bell button so you get notifications of all our new content.
I'm Lance.
I'm Sam.
And we are Love to Hate, where we bridge the gap between gamers and non-gamers. We'll catch you next time.